Hi everyone, welcome to our daily Clues by Sam video. We have a hard one for Sunday again. I'm really excited for this, but before we start, I want to address the comments from yesterday since I asked you a question and asked you to give me some questions, so let's bring that up. First of all, I want to thank everybody again for watching me, everyone who leaves a comment. I appreciate you all. I have We're All Fact, who is always commenting. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for leaving a comment and for always hyping me up on these. And I know you said that you was reluctant to get more into different puzzles, but Clues by Sam is a good one for starters, people who are just getting into puzzles, because it has easy ones that go from the start of the week and get into harder ones. So it's a nice way to getting used to the different mechanics. And if you don't feel confident taking a hard one right away, then you can just do it in the next one. It's really good. I recommend it for everybody who wants to try new puzzles. And I understand your reluctancy also with Sudokus. I am someone who likes to try new puzzles, but I once tried a hard Sudoku with different mechanics, and I spent like an hour and a half just trying to get to the first number, and I couldn't get any. And that was a blow to my confidence, but I realized that there are websites where there's different difficulties of Sudokus as well, and you can do the same thing we do with Clues by Sam. We start with easier ones, and then we ease our way into the harder ones as we grow used with the mechanics. And I'm enjoying doing that lately. So the puzzles I'm thinking about bringing to the channel are shorter ones and easier ones. Sometimes it's not even a full Sudoku with 9 numbers. There's smaller ones with 6 numbers, for example. So that's a thing that I'm hoping to bring to the channel in the future. But thank you so much for leaving your comment. And I'm sure you're getting better with every Clues by Sam you solve, so don't put yourself down and keep going. The second person that left a comment was Chris, my dear friend who's always here. Thank you so much too for being here always. And you left me a comment for what is my favorite food? That's an interesting question because I am someone who really likes mixing savory foods with sweets. And I'm not talking like putting sugar on fries, although that doesn't sound weird. It may be possible, but I've never done that. I like, for example, a very savory burger with caramelized onions. That's my favorite combination ever. So always when I order a burger, I order it with caramelized onions, and it's a combination of all the different salty food with that particular very sweet one that brings it all together. I love it. And of course, all my burgers also have to have fries on the side. So I'd say that if I had to eat anything to the end of my life and the same meal forever, that would be it. Burger with fries, and it has to have caramelized onions and a very, very medium rare, well savored burger. Burger patty, I guess. So let me know what's yours as well. And everybody who's listening, I'm curious. Do you think I'm icky because I like mixing sweets with savory food? I think this is an ethnic thing, but I'm interested in seeing what everybody thinks. And also, thank you for telling me the answer for my question, that you like separate videos, because I've been hearing that that's the majority of people. Maybe I'm just a weird one that likes them all together, but it helps to also filter what type of content you don't want to see, so it does make sense. So thank you for answering that. And yeah, that will be it for today. So let's get to our puzzle. Here we are. Like I said, we have a hard one today. If you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it is a daily puzzle where you have 20 people on a board. Each of them may be a criminal or an innocent, and they give you clues to help you figure out what each person is. And we are here doing this every day. You're welcome to try as well. There is a link in the description to take you to the daily one. And If you want to follow along with me, then I'm going to start right now and explain my logic as I go. Let's start. We start with Terry telling us that Olive is one of 2 innocents below Ike. So where's Olive? Here, she's an innocent. And Terry is also below Ike, and they're an innocent. So that makes Xavier a criminal for sure, and we don't need Terry's clue anymore. Now Olive tells us that exactly 1 innocent in column B is neighboring Celia. Column B. Celia has 2 people neighboring her. In column B, only one of them is an innocent. The other one is a criminal, but we don't know who yet. Now Xavier tells us there is an odd number of criminals above Rose. Well, Rose has people above her who neighbor Celia because she's in column B, and she has 3 people total neighboring her. Or not neighboring her, but above her in column B. We know about one of them being innocent and one of them being a criminal. So to make an odd number of criminals, the 3rd person couldn't be a criminal as well, or else there would be 2 criminals here. So Karen, who's not neighboring Celia, has to be an innocent. We don't need Xavier's clue anymore now. Karen tells us that there's an odd number of innocents neighboring Alice. Alice has 1 innocent neighboring her in column B, same people who neighbor Celia. And to make an odd number of innocents, same situation as the people above Rose. Eli, who's the 3rd neighbor for Alice, couldn't be an innocent, otherwise Alice would have 2 innocents as an even number. So Eli is a criminal. And now Eli tells us that exactly 2 of the 3 innocents in column B are Rose's neighbor. Well, Rose is in column B and she has 2 people neighboring her in column B as well. 2 of them are innocents. Which means that Vera, the 2nd person neighboring her in column B, has to be an innocent as well, and Rose only has 1 more innocent neighboring her. So let's leave that clue there. Vera now tells us that there's an odd number of innocents neighboring Bruce. Where's Bruce? Bruce is up here. Bruce has 5 people neighboring him. That is interesting. We're talking about innocents. Interesting and confusing. Because Eli isn't talking about Rose's total neighbors. I read that completely wrong. It's talking about the people in column B. So it was lucky of me that I got Vera right. Because Eli is telling us that there's 3 innocents total in column B. Which means that Rose herself is not an innocent, because the 3rd innocent is going to be either Bruce or Freya, so Rose is a criminal. Now we don't need Eli's clue anymore. Rose then tells us that Larry is one of Freya's 5 innocent neighbors. Larry is an innocent. And Freya, who has 8 neighbors total, has 5 of them being innocent. Now Larry tells us there's an equal number of criminals in rows 1 and 5. Criminals. How does that help me? We gotta think about Freya, because Freya has 5 innocent neighbors, right? 2 of them are already innocent, Karen and Larry. Karen and Larry. Which means that she needs 3 more. Could all 3 be in column in row 1? They could. And then 3 people will be innocent as well in row 5, and that works. That will make Freya a criminal. Is that an issue with that? Oh, we know that there's an odd number of innocents neighboring Bruce. And that would break completely, because now Bruce has 2 innocents and Hazel couldn't be the 3rd one to make an odd number, because that breaks Freya. Now Freya has more innocent neighbors than she should. She has 6 of them, while she should have only 5. So that's one thing. Could then Freya be an innocent and Bruce a criminal? If that were so, Bruce. The thing is that could there be 3 criminals in row 5 and 3 criminals in row 1? I don't see why not. Let's make Alice and Celia both criminals as well. That will make Hazel a criminal as well, and now Freya doesn't have enough people to make her total innocence. So that's not possible either. How do I solve that? That's really hard. Can I make Freya an innocent? I mean, can we make Bruce an innocent and Freya a criminal? There's still a way for Bruce to have 3 innocent neighbors, but not for Freya to have all 3. So this doesn't work. So if this were the scenario, that would mean that Bruce could only have 1 innocent neighbor. Could that person be Hazel? And then both Celia and Alice be criminals. That makes Freya have 4 innocent neighbors, and she needs to have 5, so that makes Jose an innocent, okay? And it's still possible for row 5 to have the same number of criminals. So this is okay. Do we know about Rose's total? I'm thinking that we know about Rose's total because of my mistake in interpreting Eli's clue. So I gotta forget about Rose. So this is okay. Can one of the innocents be either Celia or Alice and Hazel a criminal? Same thing works. And it's still possible for row 5 to have the same number. What about making Jose a criminal? If he is a criminal, Celia still needs 3 innocent neighbors to total 5. Which would mean that besides Bruce, these 3 could be innocents, Bruce a criminal, and Freya an innocent. Nah, that couldn't happen because now Bruce has an even number of innocent neighbors. So that doesn't work. And if Bruce is an innocent and Freya a criminal, then Freya has more innocent neighbors than she should. And if anybody here is a criminal, let's say that both Celia and Bruce are criminals and Freya is an innocent, does that work? It doesn't, because now, although Bruce has a number of innocent neighbors, Freya has less innocent neighbors than she should. So what we're looking at is Jose always being an innocent, so that these 2 could work together. Did that make sense? I hope so. It felt really confusing. Now Jose tells us there's an odd number of criminals to the left of Donald. Donald has 3 people to his left, and not number of them are criminals. Did we just see that it can't be that all of them are criminals, because 3 is an odd number, so if all 3 were criminals, there's no way for Freya to have 5 innocent neighbors, even if Hazel is 1. So it can't be all 3. So that means that only one of them is a criminal. Could it be Bruce? If it were Bruce, then Freya would have 2 innocent neighbors here in row 1. Bruce has an odd number of innocent neighbors, which is what he should have. And Hazel will be a criminal. Does Freya have 5 innocent neighbors? Yes. Bruce has an odd number of innocent neighbors. Is it possible for Bruce not to be a criminal? We just gotta try things out. Not really sure where to look. Bruce is innocent, let's say that. Somebody else here has to be a criminal. Let's say that's Alice. Now Bruce can only have one innocent neighbor. And since there has to be an odd number of criminals to the left of Donald, Celia will have to be dead innocent, which would make Hazel a criminal. And now Freya doesn't have enough people, does she? Oh, she does. So what do we know? What do we know? We know there has to have at least one more instant here in row 5. Which is okay. That is completely okay. Could it be Celia? I mean, I don't see why not. It's the same logic. Now Bruce has odd number. Hazel has to be a criminal. Did we ever make Hazel an innocent? We did when Bruce was a criminal, right? If you were a criminal and Freya were an innocent, then Hazel has to be... Oh no. Because Celia would then be an innocent. Hazel is always a criminal, is that it? Let me try to make Hazel an innocent just to check. If Hazel is an innocent, and we know for sure there's 2 innocents here in row 1, that goes over Freya's total. So that's not possible. Even if Bruce is one of them, that goes over Bruce's total. So Hazel is for sure a criminal. Good. I like when I can prove what I think. Hazel tells us now that exactly 4 of the 10 innocents on the edges are Steve's neighbors. Steve's here, and he has 5 people neighboring him on the edges. 4 of them are innocents. And there's only one person left who can be revealed. That's Wally. He has to be the 4th innocent. And now we know that there's 10 innocents on the edges total. How many do we have already? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna have 2 more here in row 1. Now, who are the people who are left? So 5 plus 2, that's 7, 8, 9, 10. With someone down here. Ooh. Oh, we know that Freya is an innocent now, right? Because there has to be 2 people in column or in row 1. Let's say that Bruce is one of them. Bruce is an innocent. That will make it so that... Oh, Freya has to be a criminal. So I was wrong. Because Bruce has to have an odd number. But if Bruce is an innocent, if Bruce is a criminal and Freya is an innocent, that makes Alice. But what we know is that row 5 and row 1 have to have the same number of innocents and criminals. Right? So if one person here is a criminal, let's try to make that possible. Let's say that Uma is an innocent and Donald is an innocent. How many innocents do we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that makes Penny an innocent. Oh, not Penny, but either Penny or Ike, I guess. If Uma is a criminal and Donald is a criminal, because that's the way it has to be. How many innocents do we have on the edges? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there's no way to make 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did I get that right? 1. I'm afraid I'm miscounting this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's no way to make 10 if both of them are criminals. Right? I want to make sure I counted that right. So Jose, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's no way to make it. I'm sure of that. So both of them are innocent. Yay! Okay. And this doesn't matter anymore. Now Uma tells us that 2 of Eli's neighbors on the edges are innocents. Where Eli? Eli is here and he has 3 people neighboring him on the edges. 2 of them are innocent, which means that either Alice or Bruce are an innocent and the other one a criminal. And since we have to have 2 innocents to the left of Donald, that makes Celia the second innocent. And now Celia tells us that there's an equal number of innocents in columns B and D. We know the total for column B, right? There's 2 here. It's gonna be a third one here. Somebody also told us that before, I think Eli himself. And there has to be 3 innocents total in column D then. And there's already 3 innocents, so that makes Ike a criminal. And now Ike tells us that there are more innocents in row 1 than row 4. We know there's 3 innocents in row 1, so there can't be 3 in row 4, which makes Penny or Steve a criminal. But the thing is, if Penny is a criminal, and there has to be at least 2 criminals in row 4, it doesn't mean that they are one or the other, because they could be 3 innocents, 3 criminals. That would be more innocents in row 1 than row 4. Sorry. Let's count the innocents then, if Penny is a criminal. So we have 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That doesn't work, so that makes Penny an innocent. To make 10 innocents on the edges. But if Steve is an innocent as well, then that will make row 1 and row 4 have the same number of innocents, so Steve has to be a criminal. And now Steve tells us that only one person in column A has exactly 4 innocent neighbors, and that person is Penny. Penny has 4 neighbors who are innocent already. She's not gonna have any more, but that means that nobody else could. And Eli is gonna have a third one here. But there's no way for him to have 4. Right? Or is there? There is if Bruce is a criminal. That will make both Alice and Freya innocents, and that will make Eli have 4 innocent neighbors. That couldn't happen. So Bruce has to be an innocent, which makes both Freya and Alice criminals. And we are done. That was good. It took me a long time. I'm interested in seeing what took me so long. I think I went over a lot of things again and again, because I wanted to make sure. But that's good. That's good to make sure of things before you do a guess. Because after all, you shouldn't be guessing. You should be sure of what you're doing. So if you're not sure, if you need to write things down, sometimes you gotta have a piece of paper by you and then know what you already learned from everything, and maybe jot out things that you think are gonna come in handy later, like for example the number of innocents total on the edges. So if you feel like you need to remember that later because you know it's gonna come in handy, then write it down and maybe underline it so that you can just look down and remember that that's important in case you forget. Stuff like that helps, and I feel like we should be able to use every different strategy that we could. There's no reason for us to limit ourselves to oh, I'm gonna try doing this without using pen and paper. It doesn't make sense. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to help yourself and use the resources that will help you to get to the result you want. I do really encourage that. And yeah, everybody should be able to accommodate their skills and their level and reach the same result. So that's why I'm here, to also help you with that and explain where the logic can be set down without any room for or margin for doubt. So I hope you enjoy that. And I'll leave this video here. Let me know if you want to know anything else from me or if you have any suggestions. And yeah, drop me a comment. I love talking to you guys. So you'll see me again here tomorrow, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.